What's up, guys? CN Real Fan here. Today we're gonna do some research about some trains. Of course, I got my CN hat on for the video here. So I got 17 trains. Stay tuned for part 2. Whatnot. So we're gonna start the very basic one here. We're going to start with CN. CN Rail. Unit. Right. We're going to look at the CN Rail and history. Alright. What are the overviews? Alright, I'm gonna read some of that. Alright, Canadian National Railways, CNR, which was, or let me retry that. I said what? The Canadian National Railways, CNR, was incorporated on June 6, 1919, comprising several railways that had become bankrupt and fallen into Government of Canada hands, along with some railways already owned by the government. Primarily a freight railway, CN also operated passenger services until 1978, when they were assumed by VIA Rail, the only passenger services. CN today shows more about that. Since the company operates in 2 countries, CN maintains some corporate distinction, I think that's what it is, by having its U.S. lines incorporated under the Delaware Gami Guild or something like that, Grand Trunk Corporation for legal purposes. However, the entire company in both Canada and the U.S. operates under CN, as can be seen in its locomotive and railcar repainting programs. And then there's 9 Rail. Yeah, I'm trying to. Alright, here. CN Telegraph originated as the Great Northwest Telegraph Company in 1882. Connect Ontario and Elba. I don't even know how to pronounce most of these words, you guys. And became a subsidiary, yeah, there we go, of Western Union in 1981 and 1915, facing bankruptcy. GNWTC was acquired by the Canadian Northern Railways Telegraph Company when Canadian Northern was nationalized in 1918, and amalgamated into Canadian National Railways in 1920, I think. That's what it is. And then there's more about that one, but that is pretty cool. And then you always know what the CN trains look like, you know. I love CN. It's the only brand I know. I like CN because they got some very nice stuff. Alright, moving on. CP. Okay. CP Railway. There's a lot of history. Canadian Pacific Railway. There's so much. I could read all that. I'm not gonna read all of it, guys. That is a lot of freaking reading. I'll just read the top portion. Canadian Pacific Railway Wikipedia. That's what it is. Alright, here we go. Canadian National, or the Canadian Pacific Railway, French. It has in French. I'm not gonna say it I'm not gonna say it all in French. We're gonna go all the way to the reporting. Reporting marks CPAA M or no W or something. So also known simply as CPR or Canadian Pacific, and formerly as CP Rail 1968 to 1996. Is a Canadian class a railway incorporated in 1881. In 1881, the railway is owned by Canadian Pacific Kansas City Limited, known until 2023 as Canadian Pacific Railway Limited, which began operations as legal owner and a corporate restructuring in 2001. So there you go, guys. And their trains are pretty nice. They're similar to Canadian, or CN. They're similar to CN, but it's actually a Canadian railway company. And everything. Alright, moving on. Next is CSX. CSX. Okay. There's only one friggin' thing here. We'll read this transportation. Oh, good to know you can follow on Facebook. Which I do. CSX Transportation. Reporting mark CSXT. Known. I can't say that word. Starts at COLLOKUIALLY. I can't say that word. So, as simply, CSX is a Class I freight railroad company operating in the eastern United States in the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Quebec. Operating about 21,000 route miles or route. Doesn't matter, you can say route or route. Route miles, 34,000 kilometers of track. Everything. That is insane. CSX is pretty good. You can normally see a CSX in Detroit mostly, or Flint. They're not around Source Creek. I'm sure they do go through Source Creek though. But actually CN goes through Source Creek. So yeah. Wait a second, before I erase that, what's their population? Doesn't really tell me. Never mind. guys. Alright, now moving on. The NS. Gotta love NS. Or we're gonna type in Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern. Alright. Here's a little story. I'll read a little bit. Alright? No, actually, no. That top one says a little bit, but it ain't right. Here's the overview. Right here. Hold on. The Norfolk Southern Railway, reporting Mark NS, is a Class I freight railroad operating in the eastern United States, headquartered in Atlanta. The company was formed in 1982 with the merger of the Norfolk and Western Railway and Southern Railway. The company operates 19,420 route miles, 31,250 kilometers in 22 eastern states. The District of Columbia, and has rights in Canada over where? Over where? I mean, it's probably over Canada, which is probably what it means. So yeah. And I'll read this little bit down here. It says the same thing, so I don't need to read it. Alright guys, moving on to something else. There we go. Alright, we did NS, KCS. KCS Railroad. Kansas City Southern. Now guys, let me check if it's still recording, alright? Alright, now, Kansas City Southern, it's technically in Kansas City Southern, that's what it says, right? Also, on the side sometimes, it says New Mexico, or it says, I don't know. Excuse me. The burp. I'm drinking some Coke. Well, off-brand Sam's Cola. Anyways, moving back to our story here. We got a lot to read here for this one. Alright, we're going to read about Kansas City Southern. Here we go. The Kansas City Southern Railway Company, reporting Mark KCS, was an American Class I railroad founded in 1887. It operates in 10 Midwestern and southeastern U.S. states: Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. KCS owns the shortest north-south rail route between Kansas City, Missouri, and several key ports. I think it's a Lyle. So yeah. And here's another another story here that I can read. Kansas City Southern, KCS, was a transportation holding company with railroad investments in the United States, Mexico, and Panama, and operated from 1887 in 2023. The KCS rail network included about 7,200 miles, 7,299, that's 7,200, 11,747 kilometers of track in the U.S. and Mexico. Its primarily U.S. holding was the Kansas City Southern, KCS, a class something. Yeah, that is crazy. KCS, Kansas City Southern has a lot of stuff behind that. Alright, moving on. BNSF. Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Oh my gosh. Yep, I knew it. We got a few more. We got like a few stories to read about. We got one here and one here, so two. Let's read the top one about it. BNSF Railway, reporting mark BNSF, is the largest freight railroad in the United States, one of 6 North American class railroads. BNSF has 36,000 employees. That's hard. That's a tongue twister right there. 33,400 miles, 53,800 kilometers of track in 28 states, and over 8,000 locomotives. It has 3 something. Yeah, that's crazy. BNSF has a lot of stuff. Let me tell you right now. Let's read the other here. Wait. It's a little different, but actually, I read that last part and the other part, but I'll read this other. Routes that provide a rail connections between the western and eastern United States. BNSF trains traveled over, something. See more on Wikipedia. Traveled over 169 million miles, 272 million kilometers in 2010, more than any other North American railroad. Yeah, no kidding. That is probably one of the biggest railroads, and they operate in California as well. Also in the United States, Midwestern. After BNSF comes HESR, here on Eastern Saginaw Railway. HESR. HESR Railroad. Here on Eastern Railway. Let's read their short line railroad. Theirs is a lot different than anything else. We only have one story. I'll read the headquarters in a minute. Huron Eastern Railway is a short line railroad operating 294 miles of track in the Thumb and Flint Tri-Cities area of the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. It is currently owned by Genesee and Wyoming. Headquarters. Vassar, Michigan. Reporting mark HESR. Local, Michigan. Dates of operation 1986. Present. Track gauge 4 feet 8.5 and 1,435 mm. I don't even know what that means. That's a standard gauge, I guess. Length 394 miles, 634 kilometers. I mean, HESR does have a lot of trains. They got the loud horns on them. I know the GP38s have got the sweetest one ever. Yeah, they're pretty cool. I'll let you hear the horn. Wait. That's their horn. They got a loud horn on them. If you hear that thing if you hear the noise in the background, I got my train going for our video here. HESR comes next. Ferromex, which is a Mexican railroad train. It's a train, actually. Here we go, Ferromex. Alright, we got A lot of stuff. Here we go. Alright, let's read this description first. A lot of it is in Spanish. So, description. Ferromex began operating on February 19th, 1998, following the privatization of most of the government-owned railways by Mexican President Ernesto Zedillo Ponce de Leon. That was basically how I did. That was my best attempt at Spanish. Ferromex operates more than 9,610 kilometers. Let's see more. Of ferrosaur tracks. That's pretty good. I mean, that's all I want to read right there. I can't do a lot of Spanish, and there's a lot of Spanish in that train company description there. Now we're going to do Conrail. Conrail, I like Conrail. They're cool. Conrail. Alright. Instantly, the story popped up. Here we go. Conrail reporting mark CR. That's the abbreviation, CR, Conrail. Formerly, Consolidated Rail Corporation, was the primary class I railroad in the northeastern United States, 1976 and 1999. The trade name Conrail is a I'm going to say that's portmanteau. Portmanteau. We're going to just say that. Hopefully that's right. Based on the company's legal name, it continues to do business as an asset management and network. Alright, the history there. Alright, context. 1973 to 1976. In the years leading to 1973, the freight railroad system of the northeastern United States was collapsing, although government funded something. Government funded. Amtrak took over intercity passenger services on May 1st, 1971. Wow, that is insane. So Amtrak took over that railway company. Huh. Very interesting. We are on 9. Story 9. GT, Grand Trunk Railroad. Alright, so we're going to do GT. We'll take the railway, GT Railway. Alright. There's a story and a history. Alright. Here we go. The Grand Trunk Railway, reporting mark GT, French Grand Trunk, was a railway system that operated in the Canadian provinces of Quebec and Ontario, and in the American states of Connecticut, Maine, Michigan, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Vermont. The railway was operated from the headquarters in Montreal, Quebec, with corporate headquarters in London, United Kingdom. And the estimated cost is $160 million. Wow. So Grand Trunk Western actually took over CN, or GT bought CN, and now it's just CN now. That's the one company I like. GT and CN, and other various companies. Alright, we already did GT now. We're doing Amtrak. Amtrak might have a story. They should have a story with us here. Yeah, that's a small story though. Alright, here we go. The National Railroad Passenger Corporation, doing business as Amtrak, is the National Passenger Railroad Company of the United States. It operates intercity rail service in 46 of the 48 contiguous, U.S. states and 3 Canadian provinces. We'll just say that. Here we go. That's how I said it. Amtrak is a portmanteau of the words America and track. Wow, they got a lot of stuff there. That's mostly what they had. They didn't have a lot of stuff there. So yeah. Now, kind for Metra, similar to Amtrak, but not very close. Metra, Chicago. It's actually a Chicago rail system. So yeah, they got a few stories here. You got this one. Here we go. Chicago commuter rail system. Metra, reporting METX is the primary commuter rail system in the Chicago metropolitan area. The city of Chicago and its surrounding suburbs, VIA, and the Union Pacific Railroad, BNSF Railway, and other railway companies. I think that's what it's going to say. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, as you can see. The Metro is pretty big. Alright, now we're going to do Union Pacific. Union Pacific. Also operated in California. Alright, this is a long one, but we're going to read it anyway. Union Pacific Railroad, reporting marks UP, UPP, UPY. There you go. Is a Class I freight tolling railroad that operates 8,300 locomotives over 32,200 miles, 51,800 kilometers, routes in 23 U.S. states west of Chicago and New Orleans, or New Orleans, however you want to say it. Union Pacific is the second largest railroad in the United States after BNSF, which it shares a duopoly on track continental freight rail lines in the Western and Midwestern. Wow, that's the second largest one. BNSF they probably say, oh, BNSF's the largest one. No, actually, technically, Union Pacific Railroad is actually the biggest one. Illinois Central, that's the biggest one here. Illinois Central, oh yeah. Alright, here we go. We won't read this part, we'll read over here, the history. The IC was one of the oldest Class I railroads in the United States. The company was incorporated by the Illinois General Assembly on January 16, 1836. Within a few months Republic Zeta Casey D. Illinois introduced. Stay tuned for part 2 for that. Alright, moving on to locomotives here. An IC steam locomotive taking on coal at the Chicago Rail Yard in November 1942, IC 1234 and EMD SW9 switching at Tuscola, Illinois in 1966 has preserved Illinois Central EMD GP11 locomotive on static display in downtown Illinois, probably, or Chicago, or something like that. I think it didn't say Chicago yet. Alright, Illinois Central Railroad. Illinois Central Railroad and the CN Railroad's website is at www.cn.ca. The website is a good place to look for the information you are looking for. I want to just say that. So, Illinois Central is very close to CN. Southern Pacific, which I don't really know a whole lot about. So I don't really talk a lot. I've never done a video like this. We're down to 15. We got 2 more. 2 more. I'll read the small story there. I'm just going to read a small story. The Southern Pacific was an American Class I railroad network that existed from 1865 to 1996 and operated largely in the western United States. The system was operated by various companies under the something. And then it shows more there. And I'll stay tuned for part 2 for that rest of that stuff. Alright, here we go. Lake State Railway, which is also a very rare one. Lake State Railway. Yeah, Lake State Railway is a little popular. And it could be popular. It's a little popular. Alright, here we go. Overview. Lake State Railway is a railroad operating in the Saginaw Valley and northeastern quadrant of the lower peninsula of Michigan. The railroad moves large quantities of aggregate, that's how you say it, I think, in limestone, however you say it, as well as coal, grain, and chemical products. Some of the company's largest customers include Dow Chemical Company, FC Johnson & Son, Lafarge, ConAgra Foods, Archer Daniels. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And their trains are in Saginaw, Michigan. Also, HESR our Lake State Railway here on the Eastern do operate in Saginaw and Vassar, Michigan, which is pretty cool. So, alright, that was 16. Now we're on the last one, BC Rail. I don't know where BC Rail even is. We're going to read the Wikipedia here. The British Columbia Railway Company, reporting mark BCOL or BCIT, commonly known as BC Rail, as a railway in the Canadian province of British Columbia, chartered as a private company in 1912 as the Pacific Great Eastern Railway, PGE. It was acquired by the provincial government in 1918 and 1972. It was. Stay tuned for that. Alright, history, 1912 to 1948. The Pacific Great Eastern Railway, PGE, was incorporated on February 27th, 1912 to build a line from Vancouver north to a connection with you'll find out on a later date. Alright guys, that was all I have for right now. If you guys enjoyed the video, comment down below, leave a like, keep subscribing, get us to 50 subscribers or 100 subscribers, whatever you want to do, guys. That was very interesting. That was some top secret stuff that I've never done on the CN Rail Fan channel before. Have a good day, guys. Peace out.